Peace, infinite waters, diving deep once again. How to discover what you want, part 2. Can I get a hello there? So we got a question in asking how to decide what life path to take. And I thought this is a perfect time to get into part 2 of the 3-part series. In part 1, we talked about you have to know what you want. You have to see what's stopping you. You have to change your attitude, your belief system, get a strategy, and be flexible if it doesn't work out. Now, part 2, I've got a whole new set of tools which have helped me along my journey, finding what the hell am I doing? Find out now before it's too late. Let's start with pressing pause. Press pause. Find a remote control somewhere. Because so many of us, we are on autopilot. We're working in a job. We don't know why we're there. It's just become a habit. But your habitat is where you live. So you have to ask yourself, are you comfortable living here? Would you be comfortable if someone was to take a freeze frame of this moment and hang it up on your wall? Would that define who you are? Would you be proud of that picture? Hell no. Or hell yes. What happens when you're 4 or 5? You're in school and they say, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you're like, what? They say, choose quickly. A doctor? That pays a lot of money. An architect? That pays a lot. So you say, yeah, I'll be a doctor. I want to be a nurse. But how many of us say, I want to be myself? And pressing pause for me has been amazing. It's given me a whole new insight into the art of slowing down, keeping it simple. Now, I was talking to a good friend yesterday on the beach, and he was telling me about this film called The Holy Mountain. So I got home yesterday and I watched it, and it's a very interesting film, a unique film, not for the faint of heart, but it has a very, very powerful message. People are on the quest for immortality and they meet an alchemist. And basically, the message of the film at the end is that we are the ones we are waiting for. We are the ones we are searching for. Because a lot of us, we are in that process of searching for this holy mountain, for a savior, for the perfect job. And there is no perfect job. You have to be comfortable where you are right now. It's about the journey, not the destination. And the film highlights the Maya, this stage we've all created. Even the need to do something is why so many of us have anxiety, because anxiety is born out of the desire to escape the present moment. What happens? People say, see ya, I've got to go to work. I've got no time. But they're not happy. And that was me along my journey. I was always wanting to do something else. And I realized a secret. It was because I wasn't comfortable in my own skin. We have what we call the existential crisis. What is that? It is where you wake up and you hear a silence and you say to yourself, what am I doing here? What is the purpose of life? Now that focuses your attention to look within yourself. That means more responsibility. Who wants that? So work was the first invention to cure boredom, to escape the existential vacuum. But once you can become comfortable with existential living, I found it helps you to let go. It's not a question of finding out what I should be doing. It's more about letting go of what you think you should be doing. Another powerful movie is The Wizard of Oz. I'm off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. So Dorothy, what happens? Follow the yellow brick road. So she is on a quest for enlightenment. That is what the film is all about. So she starts off as a drone, the first level of consciousness. She is unaware of her true power. Then she becomes an artist. She starts to sing, and she has the Cowardly Lion, the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, even Toto tagging along behind her. And then she becomes the alchemist, where she starts to transform her energy, self-transformation. And then guess what? Finally, at the end, she becomes the wizard, because she sees that the wizard is just a man behind a curtain. So when she meets the good witch, the witch tells her, the power has been with you all along. So many of us, in discovering what life path to take, in discovering what we want, we are told we have to meet the wizard. We have to go on a long journey. That was me studying for a degree in psychology, a degree in criminology. I loved it, but at the same time, afterwards, I realized that I am the power. Not this degree, which emanates from the Latin degradus, which means to step down, because we never question the authority. We just follow. So for me, it's all about stepping into your authenticity, to realize that we are already complete. Something has to end. Nothing lasts forever. That's the secret. And Alan Watts, I definitely recommend his talks because they are life-changing. The second tool which has helped me is to let go of duty. Stop waiting. What happens to so many of us? We feel that, first of all, whose life are we living? Is it what we want, or is it what our parents want, what our partner wants for us, what our next door neighbor wants for us? You have to find your voice to discover your true desires. And once again, I've seen you can only do that through letting go of all expectations from society, more so the expectations you place on yourself. Because a lot of us, we're hard on ourselves because we are in competition with the next person. For me, it's about creating your own league. The age we're living in is amazing. We are the first generation of the internet. So imagine in 10 years, how many people are going to see your content. You've got content creators right now on the internet. Websites such as Vine. People are creating new trends. And therefore, I've seen it's all about being a pioneer. That is the biggest secret. Because once you are a pioneer, now you let go of the duty of the past. Because you have to ask yourself, if you're not creating your own world, also with fellow kindred spirits, you're helping build someone else's. And it ties into stop waiting. Why are we waiting all the time? We're waiting for everything to be perfect. When we don't live in a perfect world, we live in a perfect earth. And that's why many times, look, I got rid of my watch. No watch here, just a bracelet. Because people say I don't have time. I have a lot of time. That is why I know what I'm doing is wonderful. It makes me feel good. It's energy generating. You have to ask yourself, is what I'm doing energy generating or energy depleting? And it goes on to the third tool, which is recording your feelings down throughout the day. From 1 to 100, how do I feel? 30. What? 20. No. 80, 90, 100. We should be feeling equilibrium, homeostasis. Not super happy all the time, but definitely not super sad all the time. What happens when a lot of us go into work? We come home and people say, how was work? And you really don't want to answer that question right now, because it's gonna remind you of how tedious it was. Why is your work tedious? Because you know it. You know what you have to do, so it becomes boring. Right now, I just hit record. Even I don't know what's gonna come out. Bananas. There you go. Improvisation. Have fun with it. Embrace the uncertainty. Embrace the unknown. Many of us, we stay in our comfort zone. But I've seen to discover your true desires, you have to start deleting those programs keeping you in a box. You have to start reprogramming your subconscious mind, which is our body. So the more you move into your body, you start to feel. Many of us were up here all the time. Too many thoughts in our head. Because we want to emulate a perfect model. But letting go of perfection, I've seen, is where perfection begins. Many of us, we are told what success is. So the things we love, that we grew up with as children, many of our parents told us, look son, look daughter, that's not gonna bring in money. But what is money? Energy. So if your activities are energy generating, you are gonna be living in abundance. But if you're not doing what you love, even if you are receiving money, all of that's gonna go on medical bills, your recovery. So for me, it's been about reawakening the inner child. More so, not feeling guilty about what you really love to do. It may not be popular. It may not be trendy, but it will be a step closer to your true authenticity, which is where your power lies. And number 4 is to experiment. We are here as co-creators on this planet to always push the boundaries, to change how we see ourselves. Many of us, we say, I am only good for this kind of job. But in finding our true desires, we must go back. Before we had this concept of who we thought we were. Because who we think we are becomes a limitation and dictates what we desire. But it's about getting into the core. So along my journey, I was working in many different jobs just to get a feeling of what resonated with me. I traveled around the world, saw many different places and faces, and it did wonders. It gave me a whole new insight, a whole new perspective about life. It made me reevaluate my belief systems. It made me ask myself, why am I here? We are the only species that has to pay to live and eat, but we are supposed to be the most intelligent. So I saw along my journey, I had to get real. No more sugarcoating. Get real means that, look, we live in an incredible world, universe, but at the same time, we're only here for a very, 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 very brief period of time. We are like a grain of sand compared to the universe. But what happens? So many of us, we spend our whole lives stressing ourselves out. Why? Because we are always thinking of something to do. That something is the escape from the present moment. Once I started to practice more mindfulness meditation, I could be washing the dishes, or I could be working on a video or in a consultation, and I am fully absorbing myself into the present moment. Now I have more euphoria, more balance. I'm not trying to run away because I am happy where I am right now. That's the biggest question. Where do you find your greatest power? I like that. Where do you find your greatest power? Because let's face it, many of the activities we're doing aren't soul satisfying. What does that mean? It means we are not connected to our true heart space. The heart knows what the mind can only think of. So the more you connect to your heart space, it leads you to the place where you find your greatest power, which helps you cultivate self-love, which helps you accept yourself 100% with no regrets. And now you discover your true desires. And the last tool for part 2 is all about the core frequency. Look, a squirrel, I love squirrels, can't do what an elephant can. An elephant can't do what a cheetah can. The core frequency is what we were all born with and is different for every single one of us. Once we are in alignment to our true core frequency, now we start discovering our true desires. Some people were born to play the piano. Some people were born to be a computer genius. Some people were born to make videos and say, "Can I get a hello there?" You have to find what makes you feel most alive. That's a secret. What makes me feel I am able to blossom into becoming my greatest version? What allows me to let go of the limitation, the Maya? What allows me to be free? And I've seen along my journey, it is knowing what your core frequency is. In a world where we are taught that you have to follow one of the biggest websites, Twitter, hello. Many of us feel we are not good enough. Your core frequency is all about honoring your uniqueness. I am not in competition with anybody. That's why I just do me. And your core frequency is where there is total freedom, because you see that you are irreplaceable. Who can fill your shoes? Nobody but you. And once you step into your core frequency, everything changes. You get more passion, which is the catalyst for manifesting your true desires. Your core frequency is where you can relax. At the same time, it pushes you into that radical action. It helps you move from the sidelines and start participating in this wonderful experience called life, therefore helping us discover what we want, our life path, and our true desires. We are here, infinite waters, diving deep once again. Stay well, stay healthy. Peace.